Hey, good morning. It's Coffee with Big Cat. God, I needed that. Hey, sorry I couldn't think of a button on yesterday's podcast, YouTube, whatever the hell I'm doing here. Normally I have like 2 or 3 or 4 points I kind of want to make, and I know what I'm going to say. And then normally I can just kind of ride the momentum into having some kind of button for the whole thing. But yesterday, just didn't happen. Just didn't happen. Hey, so I wrote this play a long time ago. It was called Hamlet, Satanic Sentinel of the Suburbs. And it was a commedia dell'arte version of Hamlet. With we wore masks, we did lots. It was all lots of physical shtick, and it took place in 1979 in Northern California. So when Hamlet went off, when he took off, he went off to see the Sex Pistols up in San Francisco, and he came back all punked out and everything. And it was a really fun production, and we ran it a couple of times in New York City, and every time it did better than it did the time before that. So the last time I put it up in New York City, I had this really kind of heavy-duty all-star cast. Like everybody in it was somebody who, by name alone, could fill a downtown theater, and a whole bunch of really willful comedy artists who all know what they did in particular and how they could land a laugh themselves, and trying to wrestle everybody into going all the same direction, herding cats in a sense, all cats. Everybody in it was brilliant, and I still love all of you guys. But I had some reservations about how we were going to get all going in the right direction. We totally did get going in the same direction. It was a great experience. But I remember my first rehearsal directing this cast. We finished it up, and afterwards my buddy Jeff Ford came up to me and he said, hey man, you did good, except you really messed up one thing. And I said, well, I'm always willing to hear what he has to say. He says, you need to wear a hat when you direct. And I said, okay, tell me more. And he said, Preston Sturgis had an idea that whenever he directed, he needed to wear a hat because his brainwaves would bounce up into the hat and then bounce back down into his skull. And Jeff went on at some length about how this hat thing works. And I made a point of just having a hat. And when I started directing, I put the hat on, and I had my hat on. And I made a point from then on to always wear a hat whenever I directed. And in fact, this hat right here was given to me by my friend Kevin Marr, whose one-man show I directed. He said, this is a Stetson hat. This is a really nice hat. And so he got me this to wear while I directed him, essentially. And when he misbehaved, I went and I put on I had this, I can't find it, but I had this crazy Mad Hatter hat that was just ridiculous. And every time I put it on, it unnerved him, much in the same way just wearing a hat unnerves cats. Hi, John Weber. And so, hey, let me talk about misbehaving for 1 second here. When I said Kevin misbehaved, my friend Kevin, I hope he doesn't mind me talking about him, but if he does, I'll pull this down. But Kevin used to kind of poo-poo himself. He'd be like, oh yeah, I can't believe people are coming to see this show. I can't, oh yeah, no. He would just kind of, and I said, hey, listen, man, you know what? I'm involved in this project too. And when you poo-poo this show, you're poo-pooing me too, and I kind of feel like an idiot for being a part of it. So, don't do that. He's like, you're right, I'm sorry. And then he moved on to just kind of slagging himself. And then at one point I said, listen, man, if you were somebody else talking smack like that about my friend Kevin, I'd hit him. So that's the new rule, man. If you start talking smack about my friend Kevin, I'm going to hit you. And I think he thought I was kidding up until the time I hit him. And, I hit him on the shoulder, in the upper arm up here, and Not enough to hurt him, but enough to probably bruise him. But also, I made sure I sank and twisted as I hit, and I put my intention all the way over on the other side. So when I hit him, he knew he'd been hit, and he knocked that shit off. He did. He totally did. And Kevin's a great guy. He's one of my closest collaborators for many, many years, and we've done many, many crimes together. All by way of saying I was working this morning and I realized something's not going right. And I realized I was writing without a hat. I need to write with a hat on. It doesn't matter what hat. Now, Sean Coyne, who is the editor of Stephen Pressfield's books, The War of Art, The War of Art, Sean Coyne says you should write and then put on your hat to edit. And that may be true. That may be true. Your results may vary. You wear a hat to edit, or wear one to write, or wear one to direct. But overall, I'm just making a pro hat video here. This is my Stetson, and this is my Panama Borsalino that Karen gave me. These are both great hats. I should probably make one of these the writing hat and one of these the editing hat. I don't know. What do you think? This seems like a writing hat, doesn't it? Hey, listen. Don't pick on yourself. Wear a hat when you write. That's the button for today. See, I knew where I was going. I'll talk to you later. This is Coffee with Big Cat.